We're going to be explaining the 3 talents on Kinessa. Now, all of them are viable. Each one of them has its own situation. The most consistent one that you can use at any given situation is steady aim. The thing is, this talent really does way too much good for you as Kinessa, because, after landing a fully charged shot, if you land a headshot next against an enemy non-tank like a support, flank, or damage, you're gonna be getting an instant kill. Like, for example, let's just use this. So let's just charge our shot, get the bonus from steady aim against an enemy tank, which is gonna be an easy target. And then if we somehow land a random headshot, look at that. They're left with basically nothing. What does that mean? You don't need to unscope either, by the way. The thing is, if you land that headshot and then wait just a bit and then insta-shot, they're dead. They're just dead. This is why steady aim is really good. So what if you're really good at landing headshots, which is not the case most of the time, because at longer ranges, like way longer ranges, let's just try to simulate that. Sometimes you will look like you're gonna hit a headshot, but it won't register. For example, let's try to shoot, the top of his head. Okay, that didn't land. This one did. This one did. If you try to do the same thing, but if he's facing away from you, that's not gonna be the case. The hitboxes are really weird in this game, so it's not exactly consistent to land those. So basically, steady aim forgives you for landing body shots and gives you more damage against body shots as long as you're landing fully charged shots. This is still good. You don't need the 2100 from each and every singular headshot. You just don't need it. As a matter of fact, Eagle Eye has a different use case. It's not about you being a sniper. It does help you with that, but let's just use it and show you the difference. Okay, I'm just gonna get a little bit closer. So basically, a headshot is 315 while you're in carbine mode. If you were zoomed in, it was 2100. Doesn't matter. That wasn't a headshot, by the way. See, the hitboxes really are weird. Doesn't matter. This time it counted. So what if you weren't using, Eagle Eye? A headshot is 270. Can that difference, which is 45 HP, really be good? Well, here's the thing. Eagle Eye sort of lets you, fight against flankers if you're running. If anyone on your team is helping you shoot that flanker, you will always win, because a random headshot or two will always land you the victory in that situation. But still, Eagle Eye isn't all that great. Okay, it's not consistent. This is way more consistent. Now, it does require you to hit an enemy and not a deployable. It doesn't work on shields, it doesn't work on deployables like Inara's wall or her obelisk. No, it doesn't work on that. It has to be an enemy, but still the reward is much higher, and 7 seconds is really more than enough. Let's talk about reposition. The entire purpose of this talent is escaping from, some situations like Ruckus diving you, because he will kill you faster than you can kill him. However, the same thing can't be said about Rom. Rom will never ever win in a 1v1 against Kinessa. Not a good Kinessa anyway, thanks to a card called True Grit on her, which basically will keep her in the game the same way that his souls keep him in the game. You're not gonna lose that 1v1. Steady aim's extra damage will be way too good. Plus, he's really slow moving and he's in your face, so you're just gonna land headshots on him. Don't run away from Rom as Kinessa if it's a 1v1 situation. Just keep on shooting him instead. Now, here's the thing about reposition. If you don't have it, and you don't have a loadout at all, activating the teleport will take a 1.1 second long animation in order for you to be able to shoot or do anything. Let me just show you that. So you don't have this card. That's what I mean by not having a loadout, okay? Which is something like this loadout. I'm just shooting and then I teleport and I can't shoot until that animation completely goes away. I can't even scope either. So basically, this is really, really bad on Kinessa because you're not gonna be in the fight if you're just running away all the time. This makes you run away more consistently. You're not gonna be vulnerable for 1.1 seconds. This is why you need it at least at 4 points in any loadout, unless you're running reposition. That's why I named this loadout as bad, because it doesn't have this card. Maybe you can use this with reposition because you freed up these points, 4 to 5 points, depending on what you like more. Still, this just makes your downtime around half a second, you know, which is good. It's still better than nothing, better than being out of the game for 1.1 seconds. That gives the enemy EV or Maeve enough time to shoot you one time, or the enemy android to shoot you twice before you teleport. You're just a sitting duck if you don't have this card. And this card is the one that we mentioned that lets you 1v1 roam consistently, as long as you're running steady aim. Even on Eagle Eye, it can still work. Now, Prodigy is a good card because you still need to dodge. This is the same concept as Victor's card. I don't think I remember its name. Maybe it was Firing Stance. You know, the one that gives you movement speed while you're scoped in. So this is a really good card. It can go up to 125% movement speed. So it's really, really good. And let's talk about Open Season. It's at 1 point and it's a really, really great filler card. You don't need this at any higher than 1 point. Basically what this does is remove your entire downtime, you know, your reload time, as long as you're hitting fully charged shots. So basically, let's just empty the magazine right now and have only 1 shot left. Now, if you've read the details on Kinessa, each sniper shot consumes 4 bullets out of your magazine. However, there is no requirement of having more than 4 in order to shoot, so I still have 1 bullet. I'm still in the game. I'm still doing something. So yeah, this card, let's just go back to it. This removes your downtime as long as you're hitting fully charged shots. So it's a really, really great filler. You always need this in order to maximize your uptime. And finally, we have Quickscope. This card is really, really good because the less time you spend scoping in, the more consistently you're going to be able to track a target. So basically, you're just going to be, you know, you just reach the spot you want to be in, you're just going to send a mine in, and then, oh, there's the enemy, let's scope in. It reduces your scope in time. Let's just try a loadout without it. I'm just going to, you know, run this one. It just has it at 1 point and then it edits out. For example, it's run power supply. That's really slow, isn't it? Yeah, this, without the card, your uptime is really going to be way more. Your downtime is going to be annoying. So repositioning yourself and then going back in is going to take more time. This is why people really love running this card, Quickscope. Let's just relit that loadout because I really need it the way it is. Now, just in case you didn't notice this, these two loadouts are nearly exactly the same thing, except that True Grit is at 4 here, it's at 5 here. The card that gained that point is the Quickscope one. So this is why I named the Scope Faster. It's the same good loadout, just that you scope in faster. Now, hear me out on this. These loadouts, or, you know, it's just one loadout with 1 point difference. These two are the thing you're gonna be seeing on most Kinessas. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that her other cards are bad. Now, don't look at this one. This is just a meme loadout that you would use with Eagle Eye. All it does is, well, makes you into a sort of damaged flanker of sorts, a really weird one, where you shoot someone and then you teleport behind and turn around and then keep on shooting. It gives you some movement speed and stuff because of a card named Bob and Weave. Still, this is just a meme loadout. You know, don't run this. The other cards, let's just edit this loadout and show you those. They're not bad cards, okay? You don't want to run any of these cards. Maybe this one at 1 point. as a filler. But no, you don't have the space for it. You don't need to target more people with your mines. You don't need to reduce the cooldown of your mines. You don't need to generate more ammo, because as you've already seen, one shot being regenerated by this one is enough to keep you in the game. You don't need 3 ammo or whatever amount you're gonna run this at. You don't need this at all. We've already talked about Beam Me Up. It's a really, really great card. Sort of, it's reposition, but at half the value of it in the form of a card. So 5 points in, you have half reposition all the time. Make sure that you don't have this card in your loadout if you're running reposition. This is why you need multiple loadouts, okay? Many champions have these cards where they conflict with your talent. Now, about the rest of the cards, I'm not going to waste much time on them. The thing is, Bob and Weave is a good card. It can be used, but still, most of the time you'll see players in higher elo just using communication and better positioning in the first place in order to deal with the enemy flankers. So you don't exactly need this. You've got to remember that you do have a half a second window of being vulnerable before teleporting with Transporter. That's a free shot by the enemy flanker, and then you will get the dodge speed for 2 seconds, which is the time they need to kill you, unless you dodge a couple of shots. So it is a good card. Still, the value on it really, really is going to be questionable at higher elo. It's good, just that you don't need it. We've already demonstrated that you don't need more ammo as long as you have this one at 1 point. So no, don't even bother with this one. Restore. I'm gonna translate it. If you have 2k base HP and haven't buffed it with Headstrong, this really means that you'll only be healing yourself for 500 when you teleport. Now, you're gonna be teleporting after noticing the enemy flanker coming, so most likely you're gonna be cauterized, won't you? Because you're not gonna activate this and teleport to, how do you get the benefit out of this? You've got to be damaged first. If you're damaged, then you're under cauterized, and then you're not going to get the full value out of this one. You're going to be healing yourself for 125 when you use Transporter, which is not a great number. It's not much. So the value of it is questionable. Meanwhile, True Grit, at 5 points, heals you for the same number, which is 500. Unless you're cauterized, it's going to be 125. That's still better because it's not on a 30-second internal cooldown. And if you look at this, if you buff the card, all that happens is you reduce the internal cooldown and nothing else. So no, don't even think about it. Okay, power supply. Reset the cooldown of Transporter after dropping to or below 12% HP. Remember, you have 2k base HP. So let's say you're on this at 3 points. What's this gonna activate at? At what point? Let me just pull up my calculator and do that, since, I'm just doing this out of impulse. So 2k times 0.36. This activates at 720. So basically have 2 teleporters, one at the start of you running away after noticing the flanker, and the second one after dropping to 720. So yeah, I've seen some players play this, so I don't exactly know the value of it, but you need it at 3 points at least. You're not gonna... Are you gonna live after the half a second lockdown animation while you're using this? Maybe you need this with reposition or something. So yeah, I can see that it can have value, but maybe it requires reposition, or maybe it requires 4 points, who knows. So basically activates at 1k. Yeah, maybe it's good, but do you really have the points for it? You can't run it as a filler. 12% of your HP is 240 points, which is nothing. So can't work as a filler, must invest at least 3 points to get any value out of it. No, I'd stay away. I'd rather stay away, unless I'm playing reposition and can use that twice. So I see this being a reposition only card. Lie in wait. If you're a kind of dumb sniper who's not dodging or something, standing still generates 1 ammo every 2 seconds, which is nothing. Don't run this. Just reload in 2 seconds instead. Like, hello? Did you try thinking about that? Okay, no, just don't run it. And then calibrate. This is a good card. I've seen players run it. Now, the thing about this one is, if you're kind of escaping from a flanker, after you teleport, you're gonna be poking with your carbine while you're hoping that someone else looks at that flanker and helps you with them. So yeah, you can sort of buy yourself some time by shooting the enemy flanker. Maybe they'll hesitate, maybe they'll miss once or twice, and then you'll have a second teleporter. But you need to be running this at least 2 or 3 points in order to get the value out of it. Now, here's the thing. There's a playstyle for Kinessa called Flank Nessa, which is a really weird playstyle that can actually pop off, especially on maps that do support it. Like, for example, Stone Keep. There's a wall, a green wall, where you can use your transporter, your teleport, just to jump over it and then ult from behind the enemy who's not gonna be expecting that. That's kind of valuable because the enemy is going to be looking for you in your backline, not in their backline. And this is the use case of this card. After you've done that and gotten a double or triple, you need to retreat. So you start poking at the enemy tank or whomever else is left alive, and then you'll get your transporter back. And by that time, even if you're running this at only 1 point, you will have your transporter back and can retreat to your own backline. There is also the meme style of Kinessa, which is team deathmatch only and does not have any time in your scope. So this is a wasted spot right here. What is this loadout? This basically is you running Eagle Eye just for the headshot damage increase on carbine mode. Then you start poking. Once they notice you, you teleport in insta 180, because you keep your orientation when you teleport, and by the time you get that teleport, you're just facing them and then you're trying to land those shots. So this is kind of a different way of playing Flank Nessa in team deathmatch only. This doesn't work in ranked. You're not supposed to be up close and personal as Kinessa. Your damage is less than the other champions. This is just for fun, okay? Not for any reason other than that. Also, you might have noticed that I'm running Bob and Weave, which grants me some extra speed, so they'll really be having a hard time dealing with me. By the time they notice me coming, I'll just be already behind them and shooting them and dodging anyone else at the same time, maybe even them. Now, the thing about snipers is, if you've watched the ranked guide on whom to ban, on whom to not ban, snipers are map dependent. Still, on most maps they work. The thing is, some maps favor Kinessa over Strix. Like, for example, Serpent Beach. Her ability, her mobility is really great. Let's just show you some spots you can get to using your reposition. Okay, I'm just on the defensive right now, and this is a good spot to be at because whomever is trying to push the payload has to come through the middle, right? Well, if an enemy flanker has to get to you, one, they must have vertical mobility, meaning that if they don't have that, they're gonna need to go all the way around, climb up either to that lane or from the left, which is not gonna be easy for them. This is why flankers like Lex and Talus really are bad, because they don't have vertical mobility. Zen can work on this map, but still you'd rather have Androxus, Eevee, or Maeve. This is a vertical mobility map, and this is one of the reasons that, for example, Kinessa is better than Strix, especially on this map. Now, let's ignore the point fight happening over here, and look at this. I can reach the high ground over there and get a better line of sight against anyone that's trying to come through the middle. As well as I can hear anyone coming through the right, and if anyone comes through the left, they don't have that much of a range advantage as I do. And also, I can also reach that spot right there. And then I have cover in the form of this ground right here. And I can retreat and get back to the bridge if I need to. Most of the time, you'll be seeing Kinessa trying to use her ult to save the point, save the push from situations like this one. So basically, let's assume that the overtime is up right now, you'll be trying to use this spot, for example, to get the most lines of sight possible while defending, as well as having this cover. Your ult, you're gonna be able to hit anyone who's trying to contest the payload, and that's how you end overtime and win the points back. Kinessa's ult is really great on the defensive. It can on its own save you from the push. Now, on that point, sometimes a flank Nessa move will be taken instead of using the spot over here. And that goes like this. You spawn, you go through the doors if no one's over there, and then you use your reposition or your teleporter to get a better vantage point, like a further higher ground, and then you ult. From that point, the enemy flanker is going to need to go back and deal with you. In which case, you might just as well kill them before they reach you, because you know where they are and they don't. You're just gonna use communication in order to deal with that situation. Let's just cap the point real quick. Oh, that was a shield. Okay. Patience is key. Don't be impatient. If you cannot be patient, don't play a sniper. Now, I'm just moving up a little bit over here, and this is not a good spot. What I'm supposed to be doing is something like this. Now I have the needed lines of sight if anyone comes through mid, which is not the case at all. People come through the right side most of the time, which is the high ground. On their side it's the left. Let's see if we can get a shot in. Just be patient. Doesn't matter if you don't do much damage, as long as you're patient and hit every shot. Don't try to be a hero or maximize your damage. Just be patient. Yeah, imagine flexing against bots. I don't want to deal with the turret. And just a reminder, steady aim does not activate on shields or deployables. It used to back in like 2016 or something, and then it got removed because it was really OP. It basically gave Kinessa a reason to shoot deployables and shields just to abuse them for the 1560 damage. Right, so what if your team captured the point? You can move up a bit and then use your vertical mobility to reach spots like this one. Maybe if you move even further and then use your mobility to get over there, that would be better, if your team does have the space for it. You've gotta be careful that enemies can respawn and get over there themselves. Okay, nice ult bot. Alright, let's just get back into it. So basically this spot. It's not really the best spot compared to, that one, but here's the thing. There's no entrance for the enemy to come and get you over here. All they can do is use their bridge to reach that high ground and contest you. In which case, well, what cover do they have and what cover do you have? Well, none on either side, but if you can deal with it or you have your reposition up, you can take one shot for 1200, or maybe it's gonna be a headshot, and then you can just use that spot over there. See if I can reach it like my friends do. And yep, how are they gonna come and get me? So keep spots like this in your mind when you're playing on maps. Like for example, Jaguar Falls, it has nearly the same thing as this spot, except it's way more exposed. Still, it's gonna be better. It's a high ground. And what am I saying? Jaguar Falls is not a map for Kinessa. Why are you gonna play Kinessa on that map? No, disregard what I just said. Don't play Kinessa or any sniper on Jaguar Falls. Not a good time. Not gonna have all those lines of sight. You're just gonna get flanked very easily. Don't even bother. Here's a little tip. If you're trying to reposition and then you decide, oh no, I don't want to use it, don't just activate it and lose the cooldown. Any ability that has this thing where, like for example, Grover's Vine, or any ability with a crosshair where it lands, just right click and you'll cancel it. You won't use it, you won't go on cooldown, and that's how you manage those cooldowns better, See this spot? This is much better than just standing near the wall and jumping around. You're a threat over here. Who's gonna be shooting you? The enemy Victor? You have more range than he does. You'll have enough time to burst him down before he bursts you down. There's also the sniper walls, which are basically these. You can jump and you don't have any inaccuracy on snipers, which is really dumb. I really hate this and wish it gets removed, because this is just stupid. You know, the card Prodigy, which we do have in our loadout, you know, you can do bunny hops using this card. It's not really all that well used, but this is a spot for it. Basically, you just quick scope, jump around a bit, and then... Okay, this is not gonna happen. The wall here is really weird. It didn't used to be like this, if I recall correctly. Well, whatever. So basically a bunny hop goes like this. If I jump regularly, I'll reach the mid of the second pillar. Let's try that the other way around. So from one edge to the mid of the next one. If I right click and instantly jump... Okay, that was some weird lag. Let's try again. Why is the... Did you see that movement? I don't know if it's just lag. Something's moving me right. What is this? Well, anyways, I've moved up more than just to the edge. I've nearly crossed the entire second pillar because of the bunny hopping, but the delay is causing weird issues on it. I guess that's one reason not to use it. Well, anyways, there are other spots on this map that you can use as Kinessa. Let's just show you one more. Alright, we've pushed up all the way over here. See this rock? You can reposition and teleport over it. And then just spawn camp the enemy with a sniper. Dismount all of them with a mine. And by the way, you have to start each round by using an aggressive dismounting mine on whatever map you're playing Kinessa as. This mine will give your team way too much advantage and really is a good zoning tool. You know, if you wipe the enemy team and then you go ahead and dismount them, nice triples in by the way, you just kind of won the point, the capture, because that dismount alongside your team knowing that someone got dismounted really is good. If you place that mine at the spawn door, everyone's just gonna cry about it, because if they just wait together in the spawn room and not sacrifice one of them going out and destroying it, and by the way you have two of them, I think they're just going to lose way too much space. This spot right here is the non-symmetrical part about Fish Market that I forgot to mention. You see, once the enemies spawn, I can poke at them, dismount them. I can even send those mines, you know, if I want to do that. And yeah, pretty much usable. I can poke at the point, or, you know, a little bit before the point. I prevent the enemy from trying to come here if they don't want to get sniped easily and don't have the range to fight me. Basically, at this range, since I don't have fall off and they do, well, it's kind of a free advantage because you're holding off this entire lane. Now, this isn't necessarily good, because reaching this spot is only viable at the start of the match. If you try to do that later, you might just not make it there, or waste so much valuable time. So, this spot is questionable. It's usable, but not all the time. You've got to evaluate whether or not you want to be there. Let's talk about maps that don't support neither sniper. I mean, nor Kinessa. Let's talk about the maps that don't support snipers. Bright Marsh, Jaguar Falls, and sort of Ice Mines. You know, the other maps all have spots that are good for snipers. The thing about Bright Marsh is you're always gonna be either near the window of your team, you know, near the stairs, or on the two boxes behind the point, which is not a really great spot, or on your team's spawn doors, because, well, you're probably gonna be losing the points, and that's the only spot you're gonna get any good lines of sight on anyone. This is just not a good map for snipers. This is why they're not banned on it. Same thing about Jaguar Falls. You know, where do you stand if you want to put pressure on the point? Well, in the mid lane. And that means that an enemy flanker will have a really easy time just coming from the flank that your off tank isn't in. You're just gonna get flanked here. Now, some people can make snipers work on both of these maps, still it's not that consistent. Ice Mines. It's a point-oriented map. I mean a point fight-oriented map. You have to capture to win. Pushing isn't really all that hard, but still, it's not as easy as on other maps like Fish Market. The worst map ever in the terms of defending. Just defending, nothing else. So, Ice Mines. When you're fighting that point fight, you're gonna be having to deal with people coming from the far side into your windows, which is the spot you're gonna be at, or people going all the way behind you and going through your own entrance to your windows. That's not a good time. You're not gonna be shooting anything most of the time on this map. That's not a good map for snipers. Once you've captured or lost the point, yes, you will have a good vantage point, the high ground of whatever side you're on or against, doesn't matter, but still you're gonna have to deal with enemy flankers coming from behind you as well. There's a flank lane for that too, which is really not all that great. Snipers don't work that well on ice mines. They don't bring in the advantage of controlling the objective, the point. They don't put that much pressure because, well, you're not at a higher distance that allows, the enemy team to fear you, and instead they'll all just push up anyway and get to your windows and kill you instead. I wouldn't run snipers on these 3 maps for the reasons that I've already stated. Now, I'm really happy about these 2 maps not being in the rotation, and I hope they never ever go back into the rotation unless they're completely reworked, not just visually. Really, these 2 maps are so bad. On Timbermill, snipers will be permanently banned. They will be banned. If they're not banned, you're gonna pick either Maeve or Evie to counter them. And Roxas, he's not gonna be all that good against them because you need more mobility against snipers here. Maeve on her double jump really is gonna be better. She doesn't have damage fall off. Same thing for Evie. And Roxas, once his dashes are gone, they're gone. He's just going to have to hide from you, and then if he's just hiding from you, you're just gonna be dealing damage and putting pressure anyway. Still, this is the sniping map because of how many high grounds there are. And Kinessa is much better than Strix because after she has captured, she doesn't require the same downtime as he does while he repositions himself to the next rooftop. She's just gonna use her transporter to reach it anyway. Now, on most maps, Kinessa is going to be better than Strix. All you need to do is give Kinessa the space she needs, and she's gonna be better than Strix. Strix is only safer against flankers. That's all there is to him. Other than that, yes, he can quickscope. Yes, he can, use his flare to reveal or use crackshot to reveal enemies if he wants to, which is not a good talent in my opinion, and that's just an opinion. I really like dealing headshots. You're a sniper. How do you not deal headshots while you're sniping people who aren't even looking at you? So, anyways, thanks for watching and hope you're enjoying Paladins.